Is it full screen for you guys?
Yeah, pretty
All
much.
good here. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, so um, this is a talk about AI for Access developers. And needless to say, this presentation, I actually put some slides together about 15 minutes ago. Most of them are absolutely fine, but the next one's quite amusing. But so basically, I want to talk about how I use Access and how I work with AI. And how I've actually worked with AI in the Access context since December 2023. ChatGPT, which was the first of the big AI engines, was released in October 2023. So I've really been kind of with it since the beginning, and I've kind of grown up using it as it's evolved. And it's changed massively since 2023, and it still changes exponentially every time they release a new version. Fable 5, which is the one that's just was released, then taken out of circulation courtesy of a spat between Anthropic and Trump and his administration, just came back yesterday, and that is stunningly clever. But I'm going to focus today on Sonnet and Opus. They are the two workhorses in the context of what we do. I suspect a lot of people will have used AI in using it in the chat window, which is, and I still do a lot of it in the chat window. But what I've done specifically is I've moved to using it in the in Visual Studio Code, and also running in a PowerShell session using Claude command line. They're very similar in the way they work. There are advantages and disadvantages in using VS Code and PowerShell. But I say I'm going to focus on using it within VS Code because it's actually easier to see on the screen. I've been a member of the Access user group since its foundation, and I've forgotten how many years that is. But the test question to anybody who says they were a founder member who was Andy Crouch, because Andy Couch, he was the guy who actually set it up with God, name's gone.
Rod.
Rod, that's the one. And Andy introduced me. Andy introduced me. Hang on, bear with me. Oh yeah, yes. Got fed up with being sat on. Yes. Yeah, so he was a SQL guy and a very early SQL Server guy, but so he was there right at the beginning. So yeah, I've been around a long time. I very rarely stick my head above the parapet because I've got a genuine. So I'm going to very quickly talk about models, effort, and token usage. Is that somebody trying to get in? No, don't think so. I'm going to talk about model, effort, and token usage. Some of you will know all of this, and I apologize, but some won't be less familiar, and it's worth just mentioning it. So currently, there are 4 AI models. I sometimes call them engines, but the kind of end result is the same. Claude Haku. It's like a spoiled child. I wouldn't trust it with my shopping list. I have occasionally asked Claude what use it has, and it's just so unpredictable, so I don't tend to touch it. Claude Sonnet and Claude Opus are the workhorses. It depends on the complexity of the problem, and the distinction between the two is cost. And you can see at the bottom there that Opus is about 50% more expensive than Sonnet, and Fable is twice as much as Opus. And what you'll find is if you start to really get to grips with using AI to help you with the development, your bucket of tokens will disappear very quickly if you're running on a £20 monthly license. Well, so I found that, and I'm currently, and I explain the license that I've gone for shortly, but I'm currently on it. You're running a Teams license that gives me 5 seats. One of those seats I've upgraded to a premium seat, which gives me a whole load of extra tokens. And tokens are the real currency of the AI world. It doesn't matter whether you're talking ChatGPT, talking Claude, talking Perplexity. They all run on the basis of tokens. And I say the engine you choose is dictated by the power that you want to use and how much you're prepared to pay for it. I would say for 95% of what I'm doing, I would use Claude Opus 4.8. And my reason for using that is A, I have the bucket of tokens to be able to afford it, and B, it's very rarely wrong. It gets it right, I would say 95% of the time. That said, you can never trust it. And that's the mantra: never ever trust it. But Claude Opus 4.8 I found really solid. Fable, I played with it for 3 days when it came out. Literally hit it almost 12 hours a day for 3 days, and then they took it away. That is astonishing. So going on, so each of the levels has within them, so within Sonnet, within Opus, it's not so much in Fable. Fable runs at max all the time, but certainly Sonnet and Sonnet and Opus, you can set it at low, medium, high, extra high, and maximum, and they're all different levels within the particular engine of thinking power. And you consequently the obviously the higher thinking level you choose to go for, the more tokens it's going to cost, and it gives you an idea of what you might use these for. And again, I tend to run most of the time Opus 4.8 high. If I know the task I'm giving it is particularly complex, I might take it up to max. Two downsides: one, it does cost more, and the other one is the thinking, because it does think and think hard. It can take if you're running it high, extra high, or max, you can notice a bit of a wait. And again, it kind of makes the point about the fact you do pay an awful lot more depending on which one you're using. So tokens do not equal characters. Tokens are based on the throughput of your context window, and I'll come on to that in a minute. You pay more for the information that's output than the information you put in. So if you ask a question and it costs 100 tokens to input it, the response it could cost you 500 tokens to get the response back. It's just the way they do it. And in fact, I am going to move, if you bear with me a second, I just want to move on to the next one, which is context. This is really important because when you start a conversation, this applies whether you're in the standard chat window or you're using the Visual Studio Code window or using PowerShell. The longer the conversation runs, the more you are paying in tokens. And the reason for that is that it rereads your conversation every time you ask a question. And for that reason, when I'm working, if I change subject in a chat window, the system will say to me, "Hang on a minute, you've just changed subject. You're talking about something else. I suggest you close the session and start a new one." And it's very easy to just get lost as in terms of where you are. The other thing is that if you go beyond, so Sonnet, Opus 4.8 and Fable 5, a session can be up to 1 million tokens, and you'd be surprised how quickly that can go. You can tweak it so that the maximum number of tokens before it compacts, and I'll come on to that in a second. You can set it, I think it's a 200,000 if you want. The effect of that is if you're having a conversation, when it gets to your token limit, it will compact the conversation, which means it will remove the start of the conversation, which is fine unless, and sometimes, I found I need to go back and look at what I asked. If it compacts, then it can be a little bit frustrating. That's another good reason not to run your conversations on and on and on. But that's how I'm guilty of doing it. The actual plans that are available, hopefully nobody's actually on the free one. A lot of people do use the individual pro. The next level up in the and these are all individual licenses, is you've got max times 5, which is 5 times the bucket of tokens that you get with pro. And then if you're really hammering it, then you go for max times 20. Now I'm running, I run a Teams license. So mine is actually, I have no idea why, but max for an individual license is 5 times. With a pro license, it's 6.5 times, whatever the pro level is. And I found, to be honest, that max, or as I've got the Teams times 6.5, I've only ever used about half, and on a really heavy session, I only use about half to 3/4 of my bucket, and it resets every 4 hours. So if I'll come on to that in a second, because that's and then you've got standards. This is the Teams plan. So under Teams, you've got standard seats and you've got premium seats. Teams license is a minimum of 5 seats, and you can have, you can choose to have them all running at standard, or you can have one or more of them running at premium. So it's really for historical reasons. Because when I took out and I paid 12 months in advance because it was a significant saving. The model was slightly different, so like you couldn't get the max, or the max pack. The individual package wasn't as good. So anyway, this is the one I'm on. I've basically got, I use 3 of my 5 licenses. I let my wife use one. I use another for something else, and then I've got my premium seat, which I use for most of the stuff that I'm doing. So to make sure you're getting the most economical option, pick the model, tune the effort, make sure you keep an eye on the context, i.e. try not to let your conversations run riot, and you can constantly check to see how your tokens are running. And I'm just going to see, is there anything else? Is that the last? That's the last one. If you just bear with me, I'm just going to try and escape from this PowerPoint presentation and see if that's what's blocking the window. And I'm going to see if I can, just bear with me, share. Okay, so let's go for, can you see my desktop now?
Yeah, I can see that.
Brilliant. Okay, so very quickly, because I've already mentioned it and shown it, it's going to drag this across. So I mentioned the website that was developed, one brief, absolutely no editing, and went straight live, and that's the one that was done this morning. Literally the guy said to Claude, this is what I want, go do it, which is really, really scary. We're going to have a quick look, because it's useful to do so. I'm going to have a quick look at, you can see this is me doing my PowerPoint slides. I'm going to start a new chat. If you're not aware of it, when you're in Claude, bottom left-hand corner, if you click on that, you'll see whether I'm in a Teams license, but it's the same for everybody. One of the options is settings. If you go to settings, under settings, you've got usage, and under usage, individual licenses don't have weekly limits. So what you have here is it tells you what your current session usage is. So it'll reset in 3 hours 56 minutes, and I've used 10%. Fable, this will disappear as of the 7th of July. So basically, there's like a special offer on which allows you to use Fable using your existing bucket of tokens, which refreshes every 4 hours, up to 50% of the token allowance you've got for the week. Once the 7th of July comes, it becomes a pay-as-you-go. Yeah, Fable, I think it'll be used a lot less because when you use it, you'll be paying for it. The guy I was chatting to this morning, the web developer, that the session that he had to write that website, he worked out cost him about $50, £35. But keep it in context, that gave him a fully working, functional, money-earning website. So, it's going to be a matter of deciding whether paying for as you go is actually worth it. Anthropic have said that they do aim to bring Fable into the kind of the main charging mechanism, i.e. you buy buckets of tokens and use them on whatever you want. The other things worth mentioning is you've got the various interfaces. You can also, there's this completely separate Anthropic API service. So I'm actually integrating AI into one of my databases so that the users can say, I need to know how many members we've got from broken down by police forces, because it's a membership organisation that serves the police service, and what percentage of them are male and female, what's the ratio between that. Now, I haven't got a report that does that, so what I'm working on is a solution that basically the user writes the question, the database writes a prompt for Claude API, sends it down the wire. No data goes down there. What it does is Claude API writes the necessary SQL statement. It comes back to the front end, and then the front end uses that SQL statement to get the data out of SQL Server. And that's all done through a direct API connection with secure keys and all the rest of it. So there is that. It'd be less commonly known about, but for me, that's a work in progress. That's going to look, quite looking forward to seeing the end result of that. So that's that's how you check to see how you're getting on with your usage. What will happen if you run out of run out of tokens and you haven't got an auto reload? You can set it so that you can buy extra tokens on the fly if you need it. You'll be halfway through a conversation and it'll just stop here and say basically you've run out of tokens. And here's obviously where you select your engine. So I'm on Sonnet, and then below here we've got low, medium, high, and all the rest of it. The one that I didn't on the slide is thinking, and the caution that you'll get from Anthropic about the thinking mode is it can overthink. So you use the thinking mode if you really need it to think more, and that's available for both Sonnet and Opus. Fable doesn't. Fable's already set to run at the maximum levels. One other little tip is the / gives you access to a lot of skills that, or it gives you access to skills that you can write yourselves. So so basically this one here writes a SQL connection for me. The little ones, I've got a lot more in the VSS setup, but basically you can write skills. There's actually I can't think where they are, but there's actually also skills that are available which are built in by Claude. A lot of what I'm saying, by the way, that would apply to ChatGPT. They're remarkably similar. The engines are different, but a lot of like the / and so on, the token usage, the way they use tokens is similar. The charging models are different. So I started with ChatGPT, but I'm now 99% running with Claude. So that is that's the kind of the chat window which most people will be familiar with. I'm now going to open up the Visual Studio. So this is my Visual Studio environment. On the left hand side, again similar to the desktop application, I've got some old chats that I've been running, and on the left hand side here we've got a series of little icons. The important one is this one here. So the way that Claude runs within Visual Studio is you install Visual Studio. This little icon is there. It's part of Visual Studio, and you click on that, and you need to grab a number of extensions. I have got it in a PowerPoint slide, but I have a feeling it's just not going to show properly, so I'm going to have to talk through it. For what I'm doing, the ones that you need are the .NET Access Explorer. This is the critical one. This is the Access MCP engine. This is how I discovered a lot of what I'm doing. Is I watched a video, 2 videos in fact, that was released by an Access MVP called Juan Soto. And he goes through the complete install process for Access Explorer. As far as I'm aware, I haven't found another one in terms of working within VS Code. Access Explorer is the only MCP engine that works. I haven't found another one, but I stand to be corrected. You also need to install the extension for Claude Code, the PowerShell extension, and the other one is you need to install Python. Now Python has to be installed on the computer before you can successfully add the extension, and this bit's really important. You can get Python from the Microsoft Store. Don't do it because it's not the same as if you download it in its normal way, i.e. not using Microsoft Store. I did it and it caused me some pain. So I'm quite happy I haven't had the chance to do it, to actually write a list of what you need to actually get hold of, what you need to install, the order you need to install it. So if anybody wants that kind of checklist, let me know. But say that the videos from Juan Soto do tell you, although they're a bit heavy going, he's very, very, very good. Yeah, he had some technical challenges along the way, which makes bits of it quite difficult to follow. So this is all set up, ready to my environment is set up. Again, it's very similar to the normal chat window. Is down here is where I can ask it a question. And so what I'm going to do is, first of all, I am just going to grab a prompt. If you bear with me a second, I'm going to drag this across so we can see it. So I'm going to do 2 demonstrations. Now I have actually got, in true Blue Peter style, just in case it fails miserably, I have actually got the copies I've already done, but I'm hoping this will behave itself. So I've given it a full brief. I told it what I'm doing it for. I've asked it to check that I'm using Sonnet 5 for this particular one. If I'm not, it'll tell me. It will. So I've said to it, if the Northwind database data exists, get rid of it. If the front end already exists, which will mean it's basically I've already done the update on it, replace it with a fresh copy. And then I simply said, basically create an access file called Northwind data, and then move all the tables from the fresh front end into the back end file and link the tables. And it says, do not assume the tables have already been linked, because I found on one occasion it said, oh, I've already done this. So that's the prompt I'm going to put in. Shape a sharp in, take a breath. and we will see what happens. Bear with me. I'm just going to do a quick check and make sure. All right, I was going to make sure that I've not got any remnants of access running, because it can happen. No, I haven't. Good. So I'm going to copy that prompt. And the prompts themselves, I've kind of practiced with this one, so I know that it should do what it's told. But getting the prompts right is half the challenge. So a quick note: I'm going to be running this in auto mode. There's actually, you've got auto mode. You've got, what else have we got? You've got ask before edits. So ask before edits. If you're doing something maybe a little bit, you want to see what it's doing, then go with that. Most of the time, I'll either run in auto mode, which says just get on with it, or I'll run in plan mode, which means it will literally look what it needs to do and it'll give you a plan. I'm actually going to run in auto mode, and I'm going to send that off, and we're going to see what it does. If you keep an eye down here, you'll see at some point it will kick in. Now I'm running Sonnet. It will probably, it's initializing my development environment, and I've got various things set up. So one of the things, it will check itself to make sure access isn't already running. It will if one of my databases has a sandbox, so if I'm running that, it will say, do you want to work on live or work on sandbox? It will the whole series of things. It's make my life easier, one of which is the beep. It's something really silly, but some of these things can take 20, 30, 40 minutes, and I'll go off and do something on another screen and just wait until it beeps at me, and then I know I need to go back to the screen. So here we go. It's I'm not on Sonnet, which actually I meant to be on Sonnet, but never mind. We'll let it go. I tell you what, I am going to stop it. Give me a second. I just want to make sure model. Thought I'd done that. Switch model. Let's go for Sonnet. Let's make sure it's there. So I'm going to restart it. Shall I? No, let it go. Okay, go continue. So you can quite happily stop it. Yeah, going so and just say to continue, it'll pick up from where it left off, which is quite nice. You can't do that with the or you can't do it reliably with the front end. So you can see it's done the copy, and it's another thing I get it to do. You'll see here that the time, date are there, and the reason I have that, so while that's running, I'm just going to quick diversion, is that I have a little utility which I use. Let's go for show window. This utility, my current projects, what happens is it monitors the front ends, and if it sees a change, it will back it up every 5 minutes. Very quick, don't notice it, and it just means that if something goes horribly wrong, I can work out from the timestamp when it fell over or when Claude broke it, and I can grab the backup from 3 or 4 minutes beforehand. But I mean, Claude's pretty good. You know, you can actually get it to undo what it's done. But I just like to have that fail safe, so that's why I put the time in, so I could go back and say, okay, I want to go back to that point. So now you can see access is open. I'm going to see if I can drag the window over. Give me a second. Going to go for again. So you can see that this is being opened by Claude. So it'll be working away. And what's it doing next? So it's inspecting the front end table. So I'm running Sonnet, because I know that it's done this a couple of times and it hasn't got it wrong. and B, because it's a bit quicker than running Opus. The next one I'm going to do, we won't see it through to conclusion because it can only be done in Opus, because it's not reliable when it comes to working with the Windows Credentials Manager. So I will run that one, get it started, and then I'll show you what I prepared earlier. But I'm just going to let this run. So interestingly, you'll see here that it's now looking at the relationship, the table relationships. Now, when I asked the question, I never actually said to it, when you migrate the tables to the back end, take the relationships with it. It just did it, and quite a lot of the time, and I would say the vast majority of the time, helpfully, it will say, "Oh, I'll do this as well." And I would think most of the time it's useful. It's very good at saying to you, I'll ask it to do something, and I've set it on auto mode. If it's not comfortable with doing something, it will, by of its own volition, say, "Nah, I want you to just confirm that you want me to do this." And as you can see, it is quite happily going along. It should take 3 or 4 minutes, so if you just bear with it while it does its thing. There's nothing going on the screen there. Every now and again, you will see that it does something which generates an error. It quite happily says, "Oh, there's an error," and it works around it. This, generally speaking, it's generally a compiler error. So feel free. That must be nearly done. Look at that. Let's be close to it. It says closed. And let's give it a second just to confirm it's finished. Okay, so I'm now going to proof of the pudding, make sure it has actually done it. Let's bring that over here. Go to Northwind, and you will see that all the tables are in fact linked, and I think it creates handler code and then strips the handler code out, and I can't see anything in there. When it does stuff, if it does a module for me, it's always mod Claude, so I can always tell. I always get it to stick code it writes into a module that I can tie down. But you can see how that's, it's a simple example. Next I'm actually going to do is I'm going to start a new session. So go to here, new session, and I am going to go for the VCA export. If you've been watching the thread yesterday, I think it was Aid mentioned version control add-on. The name's not quite right, but basically the tool that there's a nice little app that allows you to manage the version control, but also does the export for you. So I got Claude. I said simply integrate it for me. And let's give it a go and see if it actually works. So this is a skill. And skills are really easy to set up. You simply say to it, I want you to do this whenever I type this particular command. So I've said, I want you to use the VCA app, and I can't remember what the proper name is, but so I don't have to use the interface. Just generate the text files, and it shouldn't take too long. We'll have a quick peek in a second to see if the folder's been generated. Let's go to here, Northwind, masters. It's not quite there yet, but it's say again, it won't take that long. So, okay, now this is one of my development features. So if I forget to tell it which database I want it to work on, it will come up and say, which one do you want me to use? So I'm going to tell it for the Ben Fund, not sorry, Northwind, and okay, so it's running. So it should now create the folder. Yeah. Right, it will appear, hopefully. And I think, for those people who, so basically what this is going to do, it's going to export a text file. So it will export, for example, if you've got a form, it'll export the form, the definition of the form as a text file, which you can actually use to suck it. You can suck it back into Access, change the form as a text file, change the text file, and suck it back into Access. So it looks like I broke it. Oh, that's a shame. See, managed to delete something. Just give it one. Let's just give it another one. Go to the Ben Fund. So I'll show you one I did yesterday. That's going to be the answer. So here's the one I did yesterday, and what should happen is it runs this from within the Visual Studio Code window, and there's all the so if I go into here, open up a form, and there's a definition of a form. I mean, it's really, really impressive. And there's an image on the form, so it encodes the image into the text file. I mean, I've written a skill to do this, very, very similar, but this thing is so fast. The version control add-in, it's like it goes like the wind. Let's come back here, and I might have to just kill it. Just on the off chance it can do it. If not, I'll move on. So here you go. It's asking me now, do I want to use the sandbox? It's quite useful, this exercise, because it's demonstrating the environment that I've kind of built over time. So when you want your environment to work in a particular way, in simple English, I want it to do this. Give me it as a skill, and it'll go off and do it. So there you go. This is running. So I must have deleted something on the Northwind side. So this occasionally you'll see error come up. It's a runtime error. It says an expected error. So it's quite happily it doesn't throw its toys out of its pram unless it's truly had a problem. I'm going to give it a second. I'm going to kill it. So it does it uses the app, but you don't see the GUI for the GUI for the app appear on screen. It's completely kind of done in the background. The license for the app is when I asked Claude to actually do it, i.e., can you basically run the app silently? It said, let me go and check the license first. So it insisted on checking that what I was asking it to do was permitted, which is quite nice. So the Ben Fund is complete. I don't think I've been in it, but see if there's anything changed in it. Is there any changes? What log forms? Yeah, see. Yeah, so it's recognised the fact I've been in there. So it's generated a fresh file. And obviously, if you've got the text files, you can point Claude at it and say, go and find which form I've got, which form I've got this particular field used in. So this combined with AI will be incredibly powerful. So that's that done. I'm going to start next one, but I'm not going to allow it to go all the way through because it'll just be a bit slow, and I'm conscious of the time. But if you bear with me a second, I just want to start it off so you can at least see it start. That's not the one. Demo notes. So this one here needs to be in Opus, so I'm going to change that manually. So if I go to, where are we down here? Go to model, go for Opus, and paste. Okay, so if you're familiar with Northwind, there is no password protection on it at all. What this is doing, and I'm hoping we'll just see the bit where it writes to, actually I might have to, so I thought I'm going to kill it. I'll show that in a second. I want to show the actual end product first, otherwise it'll overwrite the key. So give me a second. Go to Northwind, go masters, download, password. So this is the so when I opened Northwind a few minutes ago, you'll remember you saw the navigation screen with all the forms and tables and so on. That's hidden. So if I type in password 123 exclamation mark and log in, you go straight in. If I just open it up once more, it's actually a little niggle on this, but I'm going to log in, again, yeah, and that's that was the whole of that password functionality was written by Claude. There we go. So again, my development environment says if you create a module, you must start it with the name Claude. So here's the code. You'll see it's I think it's already 62-bit, 32-bit, 64-bit compliant, and you can see that the code there. And there'll also be code on the form itself. I haven't really looked at it in any detail. I just know that it's there. Let's go for login. Design view, and yeah, so there's all the password code. So I am now just going to start it off just so you can see it talking to the okay. Go continue. I'm hoping you'll just see it doing the talking to credentials manager. Then once I've done that bit, I shall stop and take any simple questions. With the emphasis on simple. The first bit generally doesn't take too long as it's doing the writing as a credentials manager.
I haven't got a question as such at the moment, Dave, but I'd like to say thanks very much for doing this. It's been very interesting, and I'm certainly going to watch the video back to make sure I properly understand everything that you showed us.
Yeah, if nothing else, it'll give you a pointer as to where to go and look, and dig into it more. So yeah, it's going through Ultra Code Note. Here's a good example. Actually, it's worth mentioning. You'll see here it says Ultra Code Note. It's Ultra Code is it going to use it? Oh, it's actually using. Yes, so it's saying there multi-agent orchestration would be overkill. So he's just going to focus on one task, If you give it something complex where it can usefully run multiple threads, it will do, and that's really quite impressive. Particularly when Fable 5 does it. It does it with great panache. So here we are. It's done the copy. It's now doing down here the PowerShell. You can see it's now creating the generic credential in the credentials manager. Credentials added successfully. I just find it, I get a thrill just watching it do it. But there again, some people would say I'm a bit sad. Anyway, I'm going to stop sharing, and that's it. Take questions if anybody's got any. So,
a quick one I had. I didn't see how you stopped it, and then I saw you type the word "continue" to get it going again. I didn't see how you stopped it. Was it just the orange button?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, you can actually. Yeah, it is. And if you want to come out of the session completely, I tend to forget to do it because I've got to set it up so that. It's a really important distinction, and it is really important that you people get this, is that you'll be aware that if you use Claude on the desktop, if you have a conversation on your desktop and then you're out the office and you've got your iPhone, you can bring the same conversation up, and then you're on your iPad and you can bring the same conversation up. You can log in a browser, the same conversation will come up. Anything you do in Visual Studio, Visual Studio Code, PowerShell, it is on the local machine. It doesn't go to your cloud chat history. So I have various things in play to make sure that I don't lose conversations. So I haven't shown it, but for example, I make the system keeps a constant log of the conversation. So even if the conversation gets compacted, I have a complete history of the chat. I can load that chat back in. It writes a prompt at the beginning of the chat, which it continuously updates. So I can literally start the conversation afresh, which is the equivalent of what you can do. The other thing I've done with it is because I do a lot of work with a laptop. So when I finished working with Northwind, I called it the brain update. So it copies the database into my OneDrive. And when I plug my laptop in, the laptop automatically updates itself with the current version of the database, and whichever one it is, the system knows that it picks up the latest version. So I've got that in sync, and I've got my conversations linked so that, again, if I have conversations on the desktop, I can get back to them on my laptop. So yeah, sorry, a bit of a side question. That was a long answer to a simple question. But anybody else?
I'm currently using 4.6, Sonnet 4.6 on low, and the message here says Claude Fable 5 is currently unavailable.
So what you'll need to do is you should see on the desktop version or the browser version.
Mm-hmm.
So which one are you on? Desktop?
Right. Desktop, yeah.
Right, bottom left-hand corner, you should see it says update, close to update. It should do that. So it's because with the desktop, it prompts you. There's normally a little tag there that says update it. If not, if you come out of Claude, go to Task Manager and make sure the instances, and there can be quite a few of them, are closed as well. You should find that when you go back in, it will update itself, and then you'll find that you've got access to Fable. The other thing I would say is that also I think it's license dependent. What sort of license have you got?
I'm not paying anything at the moment. It's not even asking for my card number.
In that case, you're running the free version, so you won't you don't get access to Fable unless you're on the paid versions. The other thing is you should find that, and again it might be when you're on the free version, but the current version of Sonnet is 5, and the current version of Opus is 4.8. But so that might be the reason, because you're running a free version.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, the Sonnet 4.6 has. Ah, here we go. If I click on, there's a low. There's more
Yeah.
models, so I can go to
Yeah.
Opus 4.8
Yeah.
and various other things.
Yeah.
Fable 5 is unavailable still. So, by the sound of it, they are equivalent. Well, Opus, you've said, is better than Sonnet?
Yeah,
Or...
significantly so, and that's why it's, in terms of token usage, it's 1.5 times the token cost of using Sonnet, and then there's multipliers. So if you use, I mean, the minimum, if you're running Opus, the minimum safe level will be Opus 4.8 high, and the same thing with Sonnet. So depending what you're doing with it, and it's worth actually asking Claude itself, which one should I use? And if you're not sure, write your prompt, paste it into Claude, and say to Claude, which engine's best for this one, or which model's best for this, and it will say, yeah, this one's better. So, in fact, I did this with the linking and the password setup. So with linking, it said, yeah, Sonnet will be absolutely fine. With the password thing, it said don't use password because there's a known issue with Sonnet trying to talk to a credentials manager. So yeah, but do that. But do that exercise of exiting Claude and make sure you dust task manager, kill any instances, then go back in again, and you should find that you force to the highest available option based on it is a free license.
Yeah. Okay. I'll have to. At the moment, it works fine for me. I've even got it to take an Access database or the front end primarily, and map it out and provide a process flow diagram, starting off with an auto exec or the whichever form is specified in auto exec or from auto exec or the the open with form.
Yeah, I mean it's ferociously powerful. So, but if you're doing that with the free license, you're doing well. Because it does eat its tokens up quickly.
Yeah. It's just an idea I've got for creating a help file.
Yeah. Again, that is the sort of thing where I suspect if you threw that at Fable and you said, here is my database, give me a help file, it would do it very effectively. What I did yesterday with I use a system called Think Automation, which basically is a way of allowing it does all sorts of clever stuff, as Billy would explain. Google it and you'll see what it is. Think Automation, but it's quite a beast of a product. So I said to it, okay, here's the link to Think Automation, go and learn about it and remember it. If you do that, and I think Peter, I think you might have done this like I have with Watchdog. You tell it to go, so you tell it to go and learn about a system, ask it to remember. That's the crucial thing. Remember it, and it will write what it learned to its memory, which means later on you can say, I want to use this Watchdog function, and it'll know exactly what you're talking about. And instantly start working on it. And that's really useful for a range of things. I know we've got one of the Microsoft Graph gurus here. That's exactly what I will do when I get around to actually using the license I've got. And I'll just say, here's the link, go learn about it, and then it will help me to actually get to where I hope to be. Can
I jump in there on that, Dave?
Yeah.
Because it's one of the things we did a lot of work to try and get the documentation in a sort of user friendly way, sort of speaking dev to dev, and we did use AI quite a bit to help frame those. And we had to do it. But I have been looking at the skills needed to do other functions. So, for instance, we've got send an email, inquire on OneDrive. I've actually got a skill file which we still want to refine a bit, that you can point it at an API on the graph documentation, say, can you build me what I need in Access VBA to use this function? And it's pretty close to being able to do it. On a couple of occasions, it gave me the UI, the code behind the form, and then the module code to execute the function, and it worked first time, which was stunningly impressive.
Which engine were you using, or which model were you using?
4.6 or so at the time. This was
Yeah.
quite some time ago.
Okay. The difference between models is exponential. So if you go to 4.8, Opus 4.8, the difference between 4.8 and 4.6 is significant.
Yeah.
And if you do it now, because for the next 6 days or 5 days, you can, if you've got a bucket of tokens, you can use Fable out of your bucket of tokens. Just try that same exercise with Fable, because that is scary. But yeah, so if you've done a lot of good work on your documentation, you're doing, people like me a huge favor, because of course that's what the AI engine will go and read, and of course we then get the benefits. It's worth saying to people, by the way, the skills are basically transferable. So if you write a whole set of skills for using Claude, you can copy those skills across to ChatGPT. ChatGPT will suck them in and will handle them in exactly the same way.
We also found its skills were remarkably stupid at times as well. In that, if we were trying to create a PDF or a docx file, it would try to create it and said no, that and then create something that doesn't work. So that skills. Well, let me try and do it another way. It would never. You couldn't get it to say, now you know how to do a docx properly. Forget all the other ways. Just use this all the time. And the only way to do it was to store the skill file in the project and say, always do it that way.
Yeah.
Which was incredibly perverse.
And actually touch on another subject, which is projects. Again, both Claude and ChatGPT have projects. Very simple, as you would expect. Basically, if you create a project, you can write a descriptor that tells Claude exactly what the project's about. You can put rules and skills into the project, specific to the project, and if you ask your questions within the project, it's a really powerful way of using the system.
Yeah.
Doesn't work the same way on the VSS, the Visual Studio Code, or PowerShell. That's all based, because everything's based on your local PC. It's all based on folders. So for each of my database folders, it sees that as a project. So it's slightly different, but yeah, on desktop, projects are really important.
Yeah. And for anyone who's trying to do a house style for PDF documentation, it can generate and allow you to store a Python file that will then allow you to reproduce all your other PDFs in the same style, fonts, colors, everything, layout.
Yeah. Keep coming, people. So I'm more than happy at the moment. I've not any low boilers.
I've used Claude for quite a lot. Slightly off topic, I guess, but I gave it all my views and stored procs from a fairly big database, and said, "Here you go. Can you document these for me?" And don't change the content, don't change what they do in any way, but just add documentation. And it added comments at the top, and it used extended properties and added descriptions of every item. So suddenly all my databases that were huge and complex are now, of course, documented than they were since I started building them, because I'm always a conscientious developer, at least as far as my clients are concerned. But it did a cracking job of that,
Yeah.
And it did it in about 45 minutes, where it would have taken me 45 days,
Yeah, it's a good example of it. And it's, as long as you have on your desk a note that says to yourself, "Don't trust it," because every now and again it will throw a complete lowballer. I set mine on I had a really complicated problem that I couldn't just see the answer to. It was during the hot weather, and my brain was melting, and it went off. And rather than think to myself, "Hang on, this is going down a rabbit hole," I let it go on and on and on and on. And eventually I twigged, and it ended up being just a duff piece of information in a record that a user put in there. So, but you're right. And documentation, it's very, very good at.
So can I just ask then, Dave? This didn't really make sense, but probably if I used it, it would. You pay £97 a month, and you get X number of tokens. Yeah. If you use those tokens up in 3 hours, you have to wait another hour before they refresh. Is that right?
It's with Claude, it doesn't matter what license level you are. If you've run out of tokens, it's 4 hours. Well, it's a 4 hour window and it starts at I think the window starts at it's on the 4 a.m. and 5 a.m. So it'll be 4 a.m. to 8 a.m., 8 a.m. till midnight, till midday, and so on. Now, because of the level of seat I chose to go to, the closest I got fed up with running out of tokens basically. So the closest I've got in recent times is probably using half a bucket, maybe 3/4 of a bucket, and then it resets.
Right.
What you do is start at your 20 quid, and if you start to get annoyed by the fact you keep getting a message saying you've run out of tokens, come back in 3 hours, then you know it's time to move on to the next level. Going back, go on, sorry.
I was going to say a sound of warning that, because I got into that position. My worst case scenario is I run out of the week's tokens on day 3. So the only good news was I was away for a couple of days. So some really complex stuff I was working on. But you know that little message that comes up saying, "Do you want to buy now to keep going?"
Yeah.
I did that, and I think it was 33 quid they offered as the amount. And what it did was it created a different account for me for API calls, not interactive work. So I haven't been able to use it. I'm currently got a repay claim going in with Anthropic to get that money back because I was unable to use it for the purpose. I was sat there ready to go away, and I just needed to do about another hour's work, and it completely screwed me. I have never been so angry in this year, I think.
Yeah. Well, the good news is that you can use that for Fable 5 as of Tuesday next week. If you use Fable 5, it will use that bucket.
So with yours, Pete, wouldn't they just renew in 4 hours' time?
Oh yes, they would have done, but it was late on a Saturday, and I was going away on Sunday.
Oh right. Okay.
And I didn't want to come back in the office about after 11 or 12 o'clock when the next time.
Right, I see what you're saying. Yeah, makes sense.
But do you want to? Yeah, it was 3 prompts. Do you want to? Yeah, okay, I do. How much do you want to pay? The lit list amount or the biggest amount? I'll take the lit list one and go. Hey, okay, fine, that's great. Now work, and I couldn't.
Yeah.
And I've had.
Yeah, no, I get that.
And they use an AI for the help support response, and I've had the same response. I've been through about 20 or 30 email responses about saying, "No, I can't use it. Can you please get a human to approve the repayment?"
Yeah. That's the biggest complaint I've got about it. I haven't needed help for a while, but the help system is truly appalling. In terms of account support. But,
wow.
Just to comment on the extra credits, I did manage to purchase some early on, and it chewed them up at a remarkable rate.
Yeah.
So compared to the money that you pay to get so many tokens for I think my window's actually 5 hours, but I'm on a personal one rather than a Teams one. But it chewed up the equivalent of that in half an hour or something.
Yeah.
So I haven't gone down that route since, and I have gone up to a higher level instead.
Yeah. I mean, it depends. If you're using it, you get that. You kind of get the. I always think to myself, if I've got to a point where I'd really need to employ somebody, and that takes you into a whole different moral debate. But so I think to myself, well, I think it's cost me. I think for the year it's about £1,400 or £1,500 that I pay, but it's worth every single penny. I have no objection to it whatsoever. I'll be a little bit kind of irritated that I can't use the bucket for Fable, but it just makes you use it sparingly.
Can you get Claude to answer your emails for you automatically?
I think it's more of a. I think that's more of a co-pilot thing. I've not tried it. It's certainly blindingly good at searching for an email. I've got emails going back to 2003, if you ask it to find an email, it will, no matter how far back, and that is really, really useful. So
have had it offer to send an email to Andrew. In fact, then I have to remind it. I haven't given it the permissions to do that. Sorry about
most of the emails I got from you were from Claude, really. But anyway, what I would say is that I've given Claude permission to read my emails and send emails, but I've hard coded in there a restriction that it can only send emails to me. Because what I've got is it doing things like once every couple of days, scan my inbox and my sent items for commitments I've made that I haven't actually achieved yet, or people that have said they'll do something and haven't done it yet, that kind of thing. And it emails me a digest a couple of times a week and says, these are the things you want to keep an eye on and follow up with and so on, which has been really useful. But I didn't trust it enough just yet to say, and you can email clients as well. because I thought it might say bad things about
me. Can I just make a brief comment, Dave? You're not an imposter, mate. That was a brilliant session.
Good.
And I think actually this is obviously a big subject moving forward. And I think future talk and chat might be good to have people's lived experience, because things like you've just talked about, like the cost and PV sort of saying about the issues with not being able to go to the pub on a Saturday night because he's waiting for his bucket to refill or whatever, would be quite useful for the user group to consider, just to chat really about. I've not used it, but some people, obviously are at different levels of experience of it. Might be quite good to just exchange experiences of the problems with the help desk, getting your money back, how much it costs. And obviously you've set up some, not trivial, but some simple examples, otherwise we'd be just awash. So the sort of real life cases where people have used it, the documentation things piqued my interest, because it's not something I enjoy doing. In fact, it's something I promise I'll do, and I don't think I've ever achieved that in any sort of meaningful way.
Yeah, that's why I did
so
it.
That would be quite useful, I think. Anyway, I must go now, but thanks so much for your time, and it was a great presentation. Might have felt a bit like landing a 747 to you, but it was or 757 or whatever, but it was great. Well done.
Yeah. One plea before everybody goes. This whole thing started because I was reading posts where people are saying Claude's rubbish, Claude did this to me. And it's really important for context that if you are saying this was really good or this was crap, is that you say Claude Opus, Claude Sonnet, and the effort levels, because it's so different. They're like completely different tools depending on which one you're using or effort level. So if you can try, if you're making an observation about AI, then it's really useful if you could add that into the post. So that's my plea.
Claude AI in front of the list server, so intercepting any emails that don't specify that, to send it back to the sender.
That's quite a good idea, probably.
Yeah. But the other thing that I found it really revelation. Do you remember in the early days of Google, it was about how you asked the question was the most important thing. It's the same here, I think. But I found it incredible for some non-work stuff. There's a band touring, and analyze the 20 towns they go into for a nice small town that's got decent individual shops and a nice sort of hotel nearby on maybe a Friday night, and it gives you the answer that you want rather than 1,000 hits, of which 942 is the one that gives you the meaningful information. It's become my search engine of choice. Absolutely.
It's actually the very first thing I ever did with AI was to say, I want to go on holiday 2 weeks in October, not long haul, but somewhere it's going to be sunny. And it came back and it said Jordan, and we actually ended up doing exactly what it suggested. 2 days before the Hamas attacked the Israelis, so we went on it 2 weeks before. So it was quite interesting when you did go. But so that's exactly the first thing I did in 2023 December. So.
Well, thank you very much, Dave. Really, really appreciate it. I'll have to shoot now myself, but I really appreciate your time. You did a good job of it.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Yeah, thank you very much. Cheers. Bye, everyone.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks, Dave. See you.
Cheers, Dave.
Cheers.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you from me as well. Thank you.
Hiya. Thank you. Quiet in the background.
Thanks, Dave. Really good.
Great stuff. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, David. Well done.
All right.
We're now playing chicken. Who stays in last?
I'll be last.
Yeah.
Okay. Bye for now, then.
Cheers, guys.
Bye.
There was Peter and Jack.
Yeah.
Hi, Peter.
You don't need to think you're an imposter. None of this imposter syndrome. You certainly know the stuff about this. So
Yeah, I was surprised. My expectation was that everybody would be well into it, and actually, I was quite surprised that clearly the vast majority I kind of played with it, but not in any great sort of depth.
No, that's no surprise to me. It's like VB Watchdog and themes. You know, you think that lots of people would have been really into it, but no. So, but this is so important.
Yeah, I mean, if you choose to ignore it, you know, it will leave you behind. That's the problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, and it's made programming and developing a pleasure. You know, I mean, the stuff that I would recoil at looking at in the past, you know, for example, I mean, the bedboard stuff that you've written over for both PTC and so on. You know, if I need to tweak it, I'd just say to Claude, go do it. And you know, and it says it just has a laugh, and it's just not that complicated. So.
No. I knew what I'd use it off on the George Burroughs thing. I would tidy up the code for the Experian link because
oh god, I'm working on it now, but it's not an area I want to go anywhere near.
Because I did some incredibly primitive stuff on getting the information out from there. I would do it different now manually anyway, but Claude would sort that out for you quite happily. The reason, apart from saying brilliant, and you don't need to be imposter. Before you offered to do the talk here, I was going to suggest you did a presentation at the next user group meeting.
But user group, we've just done it, haven't I?
Yeah, no, well, yes, you have, but I meant in person. But
yeah, maybe because time will have moved on then, so perhaps there'll be more to talk about.
Yeah,
but
interesting. Fable. I've just looked at my Claude, and it is not listing Fable at the moment on there.
What sort of license have you got?
I've got the 150 quid a year one. I
think I'm just going to double check. I'm sure. Let's see. Let's just have a look. So in your, I'll say the same thing again. So you're running the desktop version.
I'm just on the web. I'm just on the web browser. Was where I checked. I've got Claude on the other machine, which
I'm just going to check myself. Give me a second. Because I mean, it's possibly. Are you logged in on the web?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just waiting for Claude to kick in. So Sonnet. So I'm going down there. No, so I've gone into Claude on the web, and if I click on to the right of my default currently is Sonnet. Fable is the top item in the list. Fable 5.
Okay, I'm just on where'd you get to that? I mean, I just started a new chat.
Hang on, I'll show you. Give us that. Might as well just go into chat because I've got as we're here. Bear with me. Is that on there? Share. See that one. See my screen?
I can see your screen now. Yes.
Okay, so
Sonnet 5 medium.
Yeah. So if you click on here, hang on. You should see it in that list.
I wonder whether I missed it at the top because I was expecting it to be nearer the bottom. Hold on.
Is it there?
I'm just checking. More models. No.
All right. I wonder. I was going to ask, what sort of license do you need to use Fable? See what it says. Oh God.
Oh yeah.
There you go. So you need Pro, Max, or Team.
Yeah. Okay.
So
never mind.
I'm on I'm on Team, so that's why I've got it. I might stick a post up there actually and just say just to confirm that if you want to get access to.
So which one is Pro? Going back.
Pro is the one that I'm on. Actually, no, it isn't. It's not true.
No,
Pro. I'm on. Okay, give me a second. Let's see what it says. How much is a Pro license? It is more expensive, but yeah, you get an awful lot more for it.
Yeah.
In terms of usage, for $20 a month.
Yeah, no, it should be the one I'm on then. I'll look into it. I'll ask Claude about it.
Yeah, if you go down here to your bottom left-hand corner.
Yeah.
And if I go to our personal Pro, I'll just switch engines because I can do that. And if I now try that, do I get access to it? Fable 5 is back, yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what, if you go down to this bottom left-hand corner, if you, it'll tell you what license you've got.
So in settings.
Yeah, no, it's literally. So basically, in the bottom left-hand corner, you'll see your name.
I got my name.
If you click on there, it's the top item that tells you. So in my case, you've got the company name, and then to the right it says it says team. What does yours say?
I've just got my company name.
To the right of it, does it not say a license type?
Nope.
Let's go for. That's a bit odd. If I go for personal Pro.
Don't worry, I'll look into it. Anyway.
Yeah, but anyway, so for a Pro license, you should have access to it.
Yeah. Okay.
And if you're paying $20 a month,
$20, yeah, that's the 15 quid. But I bought the year's worth, so it was 150. Yeah. No,
you might find that you've got I'm sure there is a personal license at 20 quid. Sure there is. Yeah. How many licenses? Hang on one second. I've had a thought.
I'm actually doing some work which I might get paid for. Which it's a manufacturing database which I built years ago, which they didn't pay me anywhere near enough for it.
Yeah.
And I'm maybe doing some revisions. They're struggling. I'm talking to the wrong guy. He doesn't control the money. I'm sure if I spoke to the man who has the money, he would say, "Yeah, go ahead, do it, just do it." Speaking to somebody too junior. But
now you pick up an old system, getting back into it, it's just be a doddle.
Exactly.
That's where you really do need to start looking at the VSS or using it on the command line.
It won't be a doddle because it has got so many different things in it. It will give me lots of documentation, but still, because it's a manufacturing system, it's not just a data recording system.
Yeah, so, that's where Fable will come into its own.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was going to fire it up, run Fable, and get the documentation done. I won't tell the client that, but if they want to move forwards, then they can pay a Fable license for whatever.
Yeah, it's
well worth their while.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's absolutely worth having. Well, I mean, Fable, of course, disappeared. I had it for 3 days, hammered it to death, fell in love with it, and I was literally on the 4th day, 5 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday, literally bang on 5 o'clock. I'm sat there working away in Fable, and the screen just filled up with noughts and ones. And I thought, and it does drop out occasionally. So I went and checked, and then at midnight New York time, they pulled the plug because it's fallen out with the US government.
Yeah.
And I must admit, I didn't think it'd come back. I was quite surprised to see it come back. So they probably bloody backhanded Trump a couple of £1 million for the privilege.
Probably, yeah, almost certainly. Yeah. Interesting you comment about your web designer. My eldest son's a web designer. High-end stuff, and his work has just disappeared. He's got something at the moment, but
yeah,
he used to be able to charge thousands for a database because he was a website because he was so good because of graphics and coding as well. He's inherited my my abilities, but at a very much quicker rate. So quite incredible on the web stuff. But yeah, he's quite concerned as to where it goes and what he can do with it.
I think the issues will be is where it's wanting to get AI to create your website. It's another to make sure that website is secure. And unless you know what questions to ask, and the art of using AI is all about the prompts and training it. So with me, and I was getting the system to do something for me, and it wasn't directly related to security. And Stephen G, I don't think I've ever mentioned him, but Stephen G I do a lot of work with. In 2024, he wrote, I wanted to have a system where I could generate passwords for users, but the users never knew what the passwords were, and those passwords are then handled by Access to use to log into SQL. So my theory was that on the basis that the users didn't know what the password was, they were 50, 60 characters long, that they were very low risk. And I know that Wayne Baker, not Wayne Baker, Wayne, what his name is, Phillips, he can get into encrypted back end. The reality is it's very, very difficult to do. But Claude came back and said, no, that's not secure. So, and it just picked it up as doing something else, and it spotted the way I was doing it. And, because I'd said to it, if any security issues, tell me. And it continuously does. The interesting is that's the one thing that Fable won't do. If you ask it a security question, it will say, no, I'm not doing that. It switches into Opus 4.8.
Yeah,
because that's
too risky.
Well, they've said what they've said is they've made it ultra cautious, and by Anthropic's own admission, they say they've made it too cautious because they'd rather do that and wind it back a bit than go the other way and get the fingers burnt. Hence, say they've agreed with the US government that how they're going to approach it. But for the occasional message on Claude saying, I can't do that, I've passed control to 4.8 is a mild irritation, given that I've got access to the wider beast. It is very, very, very good. So
you're obviously enjoying it enormously.
I do. I get an absolute buzz from it because
you've gone.